Hello everyone, welcome back to the kitchen table. In this video I'm going to be answering some questions that I've had about the rig that I put together for my Sony FX3 using some small rig accessories to mount a monitor when using the XLR handle. So the first question was from Dennis, who asked how solid the rig is, and all I can say really was I've had no problems with it. I mean, it's super solid. There's obviously going to be limitations to how much weight you can put on this one part of the small rig cage, but as it stands, you know, that you can hang the camera off of this. It's super stable. I can probably even hold the camera from the rod on the front. There's no flexing. The only thing that does flex really on this camera is the actual handle itself, because it's primarily made of plastic. But in terms of the actual rig that holds the monitor, that's super solid, and I don't think you'll have any problems at all. The next question was from Dara, who asked whether or not the monitor being so close to the microphone caused a problem. And it really doesn't, because I can loosen up one of the clamps and literally just tilt away the rod there, straighten up the monitor, and as you can see, you can create as much room between the monitor and the mic that you need. And if you want to use something like a dead cat, then you can see that, you know, there's plenty of room. You can move this monitor as far away as you need to. You're really never going to have a problem with that one. I mean, obviously, the further off to the side it goes, I mean, the camera could be more out of balance, but actually, because the mic's on there, you can see that that camera does actually balance quite well like that. So the next question came from Campy Video, asking how I mounted the microphone into the Sony mic holder when the hole in the holder is so much bigger than most microphones. That's quite simple. I'll just show you that. So on my microphone, I have just a rubber spacer, and that basically just makes the microphone a little bit wider so that it is clamped by the mic holder. I can't remember where I bought this one, but you can still buy them on Amazon. So I'll put a link down in the description, and they're not very expensive at all. So yeah, links down below. Okay, so the next question I wanted to address was one that came up on Facebook. It was more of a comment really, when somebody said the trouble with this setup is it puts all the weight forward of the camera, and if you're using a really small lens, the camera will tip over. And that's obviously true, because at the moment the lens is supporting the weight and it is quite front heavy. But it'd be quite simple if you wanted to balance it more. You could literally just undo the rod here that the monitor is attached to and slide it on the back. I mean, it's as simple as that. And then you've got all the room that you need to balance the camera. I can just move the monitor forward and backwards. And the nice thing about that is the monitor is backed by the handle, but it's not actually obstructing the handle. Now, if you went and mounted the monitor on the handle itself, it makes it really awkward to hold the camera because it totally gets in the way. But hopefully you can see here that by doing it this way, you can still hold the handle, but the monitor's still in that position. And the camera then, if you had a smaller lens, would probably be less likely to tip forward. But as I say, you could move this as far back as you need to try and counterbalance the weight a little bit. So with those questions answered, I'm going to move on and just show you some of the other ways I've been using this kit. I mean, this is literally just such a small kit. I mean, once you've got the small rig half cage, the only thing I'm using in addition to that is 2 sets of the small rig carbon rods. And when you buy these, you get 2 of each. I've got 2 6-inch ones and 2 4-inch ones. And then you literally get one of the brackets, one of the 15mm brackets, which I purchased separately. And I've also got a small rig top handle as well, which I use when I'm not shooting sound. So if I don't have to use the XLR handle, this is the one I'll use. So what I'll do is I'll get all this broken down now, and then I'll show you a few ways that you can put rigs together just using these few parts that makes the camera really adaptable to various situations. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so this is the basic parts I'm going to be using. As you can see, there's not a lot to it. The only parts I've added to the camera are the small rig half cage, which you can see on the camera here. So I've got the small rig top handle. I can't remember all the numbers for these off the top of my head, but I'll put links in the description to all of these parts. And then I've bought one of these clamps, so it's a 15mm clamp, and then 2 6-inch rods. These come in pairs, so there's 2 6-inch carbon rods, two 4-inch carbon rods. This is the NATO rail, which you can see that comes with the half cage, and that's, I think, specially designed to fit on the FX3. And I've got my Atomos Shinobi mounted onto this Nitze. Let me see if you can see that. So it's a, there you go. It's a Nitze basically monitor mount, but it's got the 15mm mount on it, so you can put it onto a rod. I'll begin by mounting this SmallRig NATO rail, which is what comes with the half cage. So I'm going to put that onto the top of the camera. And then to that I'm going to just put on this SmallRig top handle. Now this is the one that has a cable, so you can put a cable from this which connects into the USB port on the side of the camera if you want to control start-stop with the button. I don't really use this very often. I find that I don't like having the cable sticking out of the camera. So on the NATO rail here, there's actually a spring-loaded button which you have to press to put the handle on. I'm going to mount the handle like that. So I'm going to take one of these 4-inch carbon rods and literally just insert that through the cage like that. And then from there, I literally take the monitor and I just mount that straight to that rod like that. And you can see that that is a real nice compact rig. Hopefully you can see how that works. The monitor is behind the handle very slightly, but when you're above it working, you know, that doesn't really stop you seeing the monitor at all. So I find this is a really nice sort of compact, solid rig to use like that. And then I will just connect up the cable just to show it done properly. And I like this because it's got this small Velcro part. And what I tend to do is if you wrap it around the rod, like this, it kind of, because it's Velcro, it just sticks to itself. So that's how I configure my camera if I'm just mounting the monitor with this handle. Now you can just mount the monitor using a cold shoe adapter, but I really don't like those things. I don't find they're solid enough. As hard as you crank them down, things always come loose. You can also take off the handle if you don't need to use the handle. Again, it's quite compact, it's solid. You can hold the whole camera by the monitor, so yeah, that's not going anywhere. It's super solid, and you've got full access to the lens. You know, nothing's being blocked. So yeah, that's literally just the half cage with the 4-inch carbon rod and the Nitze monitor mount. Okay, so with the top handle mounted this way, which I do like using actually, the only downside to this is that this handle I don't think is such a nice design because it's just smooth on the bottom here. It just feels like it's going to slip out of your hand all the time. I don't really have a lot of confidence when I'm holding it this way. Compared to the SmallRig XLR handle extension, you can see the shaping of that's really nice. So your fingers, you know, get a good grip on that, but this one, not so much. So one thing I've been doing with this is to swap it around the other way, and I'll show you that now. So literally just have to take it off. And then I just slide this monitor forward like that. And then you can put this on backwards. And then as you can see, you've still got good access to everything and the monitor's out of the way. But then the camera's really more secure because your fingers can't slip out the back or the front. So the camera really sits in your hand nicely. So that's another way of doing it, and it does balance really nicely like that as well. But it really depends on how you want to hold the camera. But for now I'll put it back to being the other way. Show you how quick that is to change. Yeah, there we go. So you can see. Yeah, this is my favourite setup. I've been walking around with this shooting for a while now, and the thing I really like about it is when you're using two hands, the hand that cups the side of the camera, because I'm normally manual focusing with this hand, this part of my hand here rests on the HDMI clamp there, and it's just really nicely supported. So if I've got this hand holding the handle and that hand underneath, then that's just I find that's a really nice way of holding the camera. It's really stable. So okay, what about if you wanted to mount a 3.5mm mic on here as well? Now obviously we've got a cold shoe on the side here, which we can use, but the monitor is going to be in the way. So this is going to be very similar to the layout when we were using the XLR handle. So for now I'm just going to take the monitor off of the rod here. And then I'm going to go back to using my rod clamp bracket, whatever you want to call it here. That just literally fits on there. That's stable, you can see. From there I'm just going to put another 4-inch rod. And then I'm going to tilt this down just about touching the handle there. Okay, then I can put the monitor back on. So that's the monitor back on the camera. And from there, the mic can just go straight in. You can see the mic's then got plenty of room, it's not touching the monitor. So one thing you'll quite often see people do when they're building these rigs is put side handles on their camera. You quite often see people with them on the left side, sometimes on the right side as well. But for me, I generally will use manual focus, and having the ability to just cup the camera and then adjust focus with my finger and thumb is super important. And anything which gets in the way of that, anything on this side is going to get in the way of that. So yeah, I prefer just to kind of leave this side free, hold the weight of the camera from underneath, and then focus. And then I will engage autofocus using either the button on the lens or some other ways, which I'll talk about with the next video. So what I'll do is I'll put some links to all the bits that I've used here down in the description. So if you have any questions, then just leave a comment down below. As you've seen in this video, it's always nice to come back and answer those questions directly. I'm currently working on the next video, which is going to be all about using autofocus with the FX3. Not just about the camera, not just about the setup, although I will go over that, but also about how I've had to adapt and how I've changed the configuration of the camera a little in order to work with the way I like to focus. I primarily use manual focus, and unless I really want autofocus to do something, I want to know that when I grab the lens, I'm going to have manual control of it. So that's taken a little bit of trial and error to make work, but I think I'm at a point now where it's feeling natural. I've got some muscle memory for when I want autofocus to work. So if you want to see how I've done that, then if you subscribe and maybe hit the notification bell, then as soon as I release that, you'll get notified. So until then, I'll say goodbye.